and welcome to the Spicy Divorce Party Planner TV show. I'm your host, Spice, and today I have my co-host, Dawn. Hello. And we have a very lovely and special guest today. She's an educator, Divorce Awakening podcast host, life coach, and founder of Dream Beautiful LLC. Please welcome Sharon Hudson.
Hi.
Hello.
Thanks for having me.
So Sharon, thank you for being a part of our show. Can you tell us what city are you representing today?
I'm in Austin, Texas.
Austin, Texas. And I'm out here in Marina Del Rey, California. And Dawn, where are you?
In Phoenix, Arizona.
In my hometown. So, yes, Sharon, can you explain to your audience, what exactly do you teach?
I teach personal development skills. My specialty is kids. So I was a middle school teacher, and I realized that there was a need for teaching them more than science and math, and there was something else going on there that they needed, they weren't receiving. So I found a life coaching for kids program that I went into, and I've been doing that ever since. That's been 5 years now, I think. So 4 or 5 years. And so with kids, I teach, it's more of a teaching thing because they don't have a lot of experience that comes with them. So I'm teaching them ways to handle their ups and downs. So that's the main thing I would see in middle school kids is they can't handle just the drama with their friends. It's just like, oh my gosh, the world's over, so, and like test grades and, things that are happening with their parents. There's so much going on, and they just didn't have the tools to handle it. And so I feel like it's something they really need. And I wish I could teach it in schools. I wish it was easy. So parents come to me looking for help with, kids that are, anger issues, maybe with siblings, or they have a lot of anxiety about school, or they just seem sad, or maybe they don't have a lot of confidence and they want their kid to have more confidence. So I'm doing a lot of things like meditation and, having them write things out, journaling and drawing. We do a lot of that. And just whatever kind of comes up with each kid. And so now that I've been divorced, I've been working with more adults and divorced women. Mm-hmm. And so when I'm working with divorced women, I'm kind of doing the same thing, but at an adult level, I guess, I kind of tweak it a little, but it's a lot of meditation, journaling, and just discussing and like me questioning things to help them think about, the decisions they're making, or, getting them to think about what they're really trying to do in life, where they went ahead in life.
Yeah, I take my hat off to you with helping with the youth, because I know, speaking from my perspective, and probably Dawn's too, like we had so many issues like in 7th and 8th grade in high school. And I was lucky. I went to like a peer leadership group, and we had an advisor and counselor, and like she really changed my life. And she her and her other co-teacher, like they put us in activities that help break down barriers. And I really teachers are like my favorite people in the world. So I really am happy to have you, and I love what you're doing. I'm like, teachers really are my favorite people in the whole world.
Aww.
Yeah, I mean, like without you guys, I mean, like we would be like just in a horrible place. Yeah, so I mean, they totally changed my life. I really admire you.
Yeah, guys. I've had some amazing teachers that I'll always remember too.
Oh no, go ahead. I was gonna say, I remember when I did rehabilitation from kids, going from like transitioning from juvenile back into society. It's definitely a lot to handle.
Wow,
I ended up changing. Yeah, but I think when I was doing that, it was a little bit different. So that was one of the things I was going to ask was like, do you see a difference in the dynamics of what you're teaching now than say when you first started?
Yeah, I do. And I mean, I would say this whole year, the pandemic, I got really busy. because kids were depressed at home, Yeah,
I can imagine that.
Or being with and being online all day, it just wasn't. Some kids love it, but some kids, it just wasn't working for them, and their grades were dropping. So I had a lot of parents that wanted me to help their kids with getting their grades up, maybe confidence, or like getting them to focus. That's one of the main things in the last year I've heard from parents is they want their kids to be able to focus better, because all the technology that we've had in the last year and a half, we're all addicted. We are. So kids trying to focus on school, it's hard right now. So and then, parents wanting me to help. How do they get their kid off their device, and how do they get their kid to be unattached to their device, that kind of thing. And so it's really hard for me I don't really like to coach parents unless they want to live their best life. I can coach them to be there. That's the main thing I say when parents want me to coach them. I say, well, when I'm coaching you, I'm not coaching you how to parent. I'm coaching you how to live your best life so that your kid can see you do that, because that's the main way they're going to learn is when they're watching you, because you're their biggest model. So I'm not really into telling parents what to do with their kids, like you just have to live your best life and go with your intuition, what you think is best for your kid.
Being the role model, right?
Yeah. And they're all different, and everybody has their own family dynamic. I'm not here to tell you how to, parent your kid. I can just tell you how to live your best life, and that's going to help your kid, just.
Was there a lot of fear this year between parents or kids, or any type of understanding in regards to the COVID, or did that hinder a lot of, the interaction between the families?
Yeah, I did see kids that seem to be fearful. I also would teach classes on OutSchool. I don't know if you've heard of OutSchool. It's a online platform that have all kinds of classes for kids on there. So I would do some of my classes on there, and I would meet all kinds of kids on there too. And a lot of them, when we would talk about things they're scared of or things that make them angry, they would bring up COVID. Angry that, we have to be home, or like, I wish COVID would go away, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Especially in Texas, right? Texas and COVID are big issues right now.
We're different over here.
That's true. I hear about it often.
Now, I hear about California too.
Yeah, we're kind of different mindsets.
Where we are.
But that's awesome that we have both audiences on here. So we learn from one another. I love it.
Yeah.
Now, why did you decide to create the Divorce Awakening podcast?
Okay, the Divorce Awakening podcast, I started with my partner, my boyfriend. We actually were childhood friends, middle school and high school friends. We hadn't seen each other in, I would say it was 26 years. We hadn't seen each other since 11th grade. And we're both, I'm 44, he's 45. And when we were going through a divorce, I guess we heard about each other going through a divorce, and we somehow, he reached out to me on Instagram, and then we talked, and then we just became best friends, and now we're in this relationship. And so
that's so awesome.
It is. It's an amazing story, and I can't believe, it seems so surreal. But we decided to start. We have another podcast called Soul Quest, which is just a general story. We like to talk to people about their journeys in life, and then the Divorce Awakening came kind of out of that, where we thought, we need to talk to people about divorce. Like, I feel like this is a hot topic right now, especially after COVID. So let's
COVID.
And we need to talk to people. And I think it's kind of healing to talk about your things, challenges you've gone through. And I think we just want to help people that are going through divorce see that there's good things that come out of it. It doesn't have to be horrible.
Right.
Cool. What do you hope to accomplish with this show, with the Divorce Awakening show?
Yeah, we're just trying to help people see that, that it's a learning opportunity. Divorce is a learning opportunity, and it's a chance to level up and get better at something, like get better at relationships, learn what learn the things that you're not going to put up with anymore in your next relationship. And and to see it as just a lesson and not a bad thing. It doesn't have to be, you know, a bad thing. And a lot of people, I think, hold on. It seems like more and more women I meet, it seems like they're the ones that initiated the leaving these days, it seems like. So they're already in that kind of frame of mind of moving on, you know, like, I wanted to be out of that. I had to be away from that man, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the man is like shocked and kind of having a hard time with it. You know, it seems like that's what I come across more often than not.
So that's changed a lot then.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of women kind of stepping up and realizing that they don't want to live in this controlled environment or whatever they're dealing with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I found it surprising too. Like I read somewhere that, men take it harder divorce than women.
Yeah. And I also, I read that men tend to find someone immediately afterwards because they can't live without a woman taking care of them.
They need a security blanket.
Yeah, they need their security blanket. Exactly. It's like they don't know what to do. They can't handle being alone. I'm not saying every man, but
and then they go into the next bad relationship.
No, I was saying I was close to 2 years, close to being fully divorced, and my ex is like now has 2 women, or had 2 women between that time.
Wow. See?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. My other girlfriend who got divorced, every time she'd come to pick up her kids, her ex-husband had like a new woman. Like every time there's like a new woman. They didn't last very long. Yeah. So I guess
I've had some friends that their ex-husband, you know, friends in their 40s, their ex-husbands are dating. I have 2 friends. Their ex-husbands are dating girls that are like 20 years younger than them.
Oh my God. Yeah. I think that happens pretty often.
Yeah.
Probably because they're stuck in that mind frame of a 20-year-old.
Yeah. Probably. That's it. Or, they can't get anybody their age because, you know.
Too smart for them. That's just my opinion. I don't know.
I think so.
Okay. So what exactly is meditation? I've been wanting to try meditation, but I really haven't had the opportunity or haven't sat down to explore it more.
Okay, well, meditation is when, there's so many different types. So people tend to think of meditation as you have to sit there and breathe and just really clear your mind, but really that's not what it is. It's just the practice of you focusing on one thing at a time and letting go of the thought. You know, so if you have all these thoughts going on in your mind, you know, or scattered thoughts even, like you're thinking about something and then you think about something else and then something else and you just can't keep a thought straight, you know. Meditation really helps with that, helps you be able to focus better, and it's shown through research to be able to help with emotional resiliency. And so when you're helping yourself mentally, you're also helping yourself physically. So it's just a time to get your mind quiet, basically, and focus on one thing. So it could be focusing on your breathing, or maybe a mantra, like a word you're saying over and over, or a sound. Mm-hmm. I do that a lot with my kids, as we do a sound meditation where I have them close their eyes and just open their ears and listen to anything that's around them. My favorite thing to do is guided meditations where I'm imagining, you know, like light going through my body and recharging me or healing me or things like that. That always makes me feel better. So everybody has their preference of meditation.
Okay. And that's what I was going to ask you next. Can you demonstrate what visual meditation is?
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to do one?
Yes, please.
Okay. All right. This is my favorite one that I do. I call it either I'm going to change it to golden light healing. So close your eyes, take a deep breath in your nose and out your mouth. And then imagine a golden light coming down from the stars above, and this golden light is sending you whatever your body needs right now. And it's going down through your head, traveling all through your brain and your face, your jaw. And the golden light is just going to go through all of your body, down your neck and your throat. And as the golden light is traveling, it's healing you, or it's sending you love, or whatever it is you need, maybe a nutrient your body's lacking, going down your arms and your back, and all down your legs, into your toes. So you're just this big ball of golden light. This golden light is feeding your cells with love and nutrients and peace. And then imagine that golden light being shared. So you're sharing this golden light with people around you. So whoever you live with, or people on your street, or good friends that are close by that you want to share this light with, just imagine it coming and radiating off of you to these people. And you can imagine radiating the golden light even farther over your city, over your state, even the world. All right, and you can hold on to this golden light in your heart and just remember that that golden light is here for you always. Whenever you feel like you need some peace, you feel like you need some recharge time, you can always put your hand over your heart and feel that golden light working. You can open your eyes. How did that feel?
That was fun.
Good.
It was good too. I mean, makes me feel positive.
Good.
Yeah, I feel lighter.
Yeah. You liked it, Dawn? Yeah, I love that. I really haven't had a chance to do meditation. I think that's a great experience, and it really does. It helps you to focus or just feel better, and have a lot more positivity in you.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah,
Yes.
I really enjoy that.
Good.
Yeah, that's a good experience.
That's one of my favorite things to do when I just need to recharge from the day, like just kind of reset.
Now, do you have videos of you doing that on YouTube, or do you have any?
I have meditations on Insight Timer. Have you heard of Insight Timer?
No.
It's an app, and I have about 4 or 5 meditations on there. And that one I just did is on there, but I put it on there a couple of years ago when I was calling it I called it Healing Light. I don't think it's a color. I have one for clearing your throat chakra, so that in preparation of speaking up to somebody about something. I have one on there.
That's a good one.
I have one on there for creating a new belief, getting rid of an old belief and creating a new belief.
Nice.
And what else do I have on there? I can't remember. But yeah, I have several different. I like to do the guided and like visual kind of things, and like use it to really, not just for relaxation, but to actually doing some work inside of you,
Yeah, I like that because I'm a visual person. So I think that's how I learn best is visual. So I think that worked wonders for me. I'm going to have to definitely check out the app.
Yeah, it's a great app. There's thousands of meditations on there and different teachers.
I'd like to know, what is heart math?
Okay, yeah, heart math. It's an institute in Northern California. So they have done a lot of research on the heart, and especially the heart-brain connection. And so there's so much they have shown in research that the heart is actually where we're feeling our emotions. And the heart is sending so many more signals to the brain than the brain sends to the heart. So there's a communication going on there that when we're feeling really high elevated emotions like love and gratitude, our heart rate variability is very coherent and balanced. And so that is being communicated to the brain. And so that way the brain can make really good decisions. You have really better memory when you're feeling these emotions. So what we tend to think of as positive emotions, our heart is benefiting and our brain is benefiting, because when we're feeling anger, our heart rate variability is really jagged, and then that communicates to the brain, and the brain it's hard for the brain to make decisions. It's hard for the brain to memorize things. And then that's, when somebody gets really angry, the brain gets taken over with anger and might make a really unhealthy decision. Mm-hmm. So they've come up with a lot of techniques. Yeah.
I made some bad decisions when I was angry.
Yeah, that's typical. I mean, everybody has. But HeartMath has come up with a lot of techniques that they've based in science. So everything is science-based, and they're basically meditations, but they like to call them techniques because I want people to be able to use them wherever, whenever, and not think that you have to be, in a room by yourself to do it, because, real life happens. And sometimes in the middle of an argument, maybe we need to do some of these techniques to help us get through it. So so the techniques that they have come up with are what I teach as a HeartMath coach to my clients. So like, for example, one is called heart focused breathing. That's the most simplest one, is where you're imagining that you're breathing in and out of your heart. So that helps put focus on your heart. And so when you're in a moment of intense anger, if you do that, and you don't even have to, like, sometimes I like to put my hand on my heart. You don't have to do that. Nobody even has to know you're doing it. You're just breathing and imagining it going in and out of your heart just lessens the intensity of the anger in the moment. So
that's good. Is physical activity important to our relationships?
Yes. I think physical activity is important to living as our best self. So that would pertain to relationships as well. I think the more, I'm a physically active person, but not like, I don't like oh my gosh, my boyfriend is actually going to be traveling from San Francisco to San Diego on a bike next week.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, that's a far ride.
That is too far out there for me. But some people thrive on that. I think physical activity is good for everybody, because the more you're moving your body, the healthier you're going to be. My grandparents lived into their late 90s, and he was mowing the lawn until 95. I feel like that's what kept him alive, is because he kept moving and he didn't depend on other people to do everything for him.
Right.
Yeah, you got to stay in motion.
Yeah. Definitely.
How does eating vegan versus meat diet, does that affect our well-being? Do you believe it does or not?
I do, because I've actually, I'm not a vegan 100%. I like to say maybe 70% I eat plant-based.
Okay.
But when I do, I've had some, 4 days in a row that I've eaten vegan and mostly raw. And I feel so much more clear when I do that. But I'm a big foodie, so it's really hard for me to do that. I love animals, and I've always wanted to be a vegetarian, and I tried throughout my life. It's been really hard for me, especially my ex-husband. He was a big meat and potatoes guy, so it was really hard to even try to do that. But now I'm free. I can eat whatever I want. I don't have to worry about cooking dinner for anybody. So I definitely eat more plant-based, and I feel like when I do, I feel a lot better.
I agree. I'm a pescatarian, and I feel a little bit like you said, a little bit clearer or more focused. Yeah. I feel a little bit better when I do eat differently.
Yeah. It's definitely noticeable for sure.
Yeah. But Dawn eats meat, right, Dawn? So she's probably taking it in an earful.
Well, as because I'm full Native American, and so we do eat a lot of meat, but depending on, I'm from 4 tribes, so depending on what tribe you're from and how you cook it is so much different. Like I have with Shoshones, they cook underground sometimes, or they barbecue, or but it's really pretty lean, and it's more like it's not your typical food. Like some of it can be beef, but a lot of it's either like lamb or things like that. Yeah. So but they hunt and they still fish, and sometimes they still fish by their. Yeah, so it's a little bit different.
I think that's a good point. Is when you're eating an animal that has suffered, that was in a cage for months, that the vibration, the energy you're eating, it can really affect you too. And I think that can weigh you down. So, when you're eating, I know that Native Americans, like when they kill an animal, they eat the whole thing, right? They don't waste it, which is a big deal.
So they pray and they thank, for the sustenance, thank them. And, but they're very physical before they eat too, and then they're pretty physical after they eat. So, or either that or they're fasting and then they'll eat a big meal,
Yeah.
But it just, like I said, it really depends on the geographical locations. Because like here, some of our reservations are too close to the city, so they're not eating as healthy. They're not doing things as healthy with their crops, things like that.
Yeah.
It's different.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think that's a fun subject to talk about.
Yeah.
It's like,
everybody has, their different way of eating, and like everybody's body's different, so we can't really say one way to eat is right.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Any suggestions?
Unless you
go ahead, Dawn.
I was saying, unless you go, like, I lived in Saudi Arabia for 2 years, and you're not allowed to eat beef, like, whatsoever. You can't even drink the milk from a cow. You have to.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a holy animal.
So it
there,
also
right?
depends on where you live. Huh?
Isn't it like a holy animal? Don't they worship the cow?
You can't eat any beef. You can't eat pork. You have to eat, like, they have goat. They have a lot of, like snakes, things like that. But yeah.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Any suggestions for self-care after a breakup?
Oh, wow. I think being around your friends and laughing is one of the major things that helps me. But I just treating yourself to things that really make you happy, like a massage or, going out to your favorite restaurant, just doing things here and there that make you feel good, that aren't necessarily like numbing you, from feeling the pain, but you're feeling the pain and also doing nice things for yourself. I know when I went through my leaving my ex, it wasn't as hard for me, I guess, because I had been kind of checked out for a while, but I did, what was hard for me was being alone a lot, because I thought, in my marriage, I just wanted to be alone so bad. Like, God, can you ever go on a trip or something and just like give me the house to myself? He would never go anywhere. So it was so hard. And then I wanted to be alone. I was like, but then when I got alone, when my daughter would be with him, I was like, gosh, wow, this is lonely. Like now I do know what loneliness feels like, and it kind of hurts. It's kind of hard, but I made myself get through it, and I just kind of felt the pain and just tried to get myself out of the house whenever I couldn't bear it anymore. But I think a lot of what helped me was my friends that would make sure that I would call and check on me and make sure, ask me if I wanted to do something, if I felt like doing something, like they were available. So that was really helpful.
Yeah, those are good. Those are good tips. What has been the most difficult issue of adapting to being divorced?
The most difficult has been just the child, my daughter, figuring out that, that's definitely the hardest. Like having to still have to be in touch with him because of our daughter, or, talking about our daughter and bringing her back and forth. And I mean, the first year, just feeling like, am I doing, what am I saying the right thing? What do I say? And also him not being able to deal with it very well. And he emotionally abused me through text like every day for like a year. So that was hard too. But I had to realize that he was angry and he was shocked and he was really shook outside his comfort zone, and he had never really done anything hard like that. So it's good now, 3 years later.
Yeah, 3 years later. It takes a while. It takes a while to get to the place you're at right now.
It definitely does.
People always ask me, like, how long did it take you to get, and I remember asking other women before, when I first got freshly separated, how long did it take you to get to this place, where you look happy and everything's fine, and people, they had different answers, but I have that question a lot now, like from my divorce coaching clients. They'll be like, how long did it take you to get where you are now, where it seems doable, and like you can actually be in each other's presence and you're not crying or like pissed off or all the time. And I said it was at least a good year and a half before we could like be in each other's presence at a birthday party or whatever, and not feel like, oh God, I just want to get out of
here. We understand what you're saying. So do a lot of our audience members. Any suggestions for divorcees that are depressed on how they could bring more fun and joy back into their lives?
Oh gosh. Try something new. I feel like when you get outside your comfort zone, you try something new that you've never done before, but you've wanted to do. That always helps get you excited about something. And anytime you're stepping outside your comfort zone to do something new, but it's something that you've really wanted to always try, it takes your mind off other things and it gets you excited about the future.
That's true.
Yeah, I would say that's the number one thing.
Okay.
Just trying to put yourself and trying to put your, maybe joining groups, divorce groups or meetups or something where you're meeting new people is always a good thing to get you out. And meeting new people for me has always been exciting, but I know some people that's hard. So that might be torturous, but I mean, you have to get out of your comfort zone to meet people eventually.
I like meeting new people.
Yeah, some people think that's torturous, but
that sounds
I do.
bad.
I like, and I feel like that's always something that excites me. And whenever I'm like feeling sad, just like maybe getting online even to connect with somebody,
Yeah,
so
definitely.
easy now. Yeah.
That's what me and Don do. We're all
There's so many apps you can get online and meet people.
Yeah, there's so many cool people on there. They're doing so many crazy things on there too.
Yeah,
there is.
Do you feel there's more pros to being single versus in a marriage?
This question reminds me of, but when I was married, and I have one of my good friends that I've known forever. She's always been a single mom. She has two daughters. One is 23 and one's 8 now, or about to be 8. So she's had these kids, but she's always been a single mom. And sometimes I would think, man, she gets to drop her kid off and just like go have fun tonight. She doesn't have to be like, do you mind if I go out with my friend? Like in my marriage, it just felt like I had to always tiptoe and be like, is it okay if I go to dinner with my friends? But she doesn't have to do that because it's like already written in there. Like, okay, she has to give her kid to the dad. And I would kind of get jealous of that sometimes. So I was jealous of her being a single mom. And so now that I'm a single mom, I would say, I think for my personality, there are a lot more pros to being single. Because I like to have my own space,
Yeah.
And I mean, my relationship now is long distance, so it's like 3 hours away. So we see each other, 2 weekends out of the month, and it's been great for the last couple of years because we both were going through divorce, so it's kind of been a slow growing process, and it's worked really great that way, since we were both living with people and we were both like we're never getting married again, that kind of mentality. So I don't know, everybody's different, but I think marriage is fine for people that like the everyday is the same thing kind of thing. But I don't know, I guess it really depends on where you are and if you're really in love and your marriage is that soulmate, you know, that one.
Yeah, and someone who doesn't have you like on lockdown either.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody that's not controlling you.
Yeah. That's too much for me.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah.
Totally. And I didn't realize how long I was living like that. I was just like, wait a second, what am I doing?
Yeah, that's just too much.
Yes. So.
And that's one of the questions I wanted to ask you. Have you dated after your divorce? And it sounds like it.
Yeah, we started, you know, talking, you know, before we were final, our divorces were final, but I always told myself when my divorce is final, I will go on a dating app. I knew my ex was already on a dating app, but I was like, you know what? I'm not there yet. I don't even want to be around a man at this point. I'm just like, get me away from any man.
No. Oh no, it's not that bad.
But the way it happened was like perfect for me. You know, like we're friends in the past. We connected as friends again. We just became each other's support, and it just turned into amazing love. It happened perfectly. So no, I never got to the point of dating really.
Okay.
Kind of just fell in my hands and.
Okay, that's good. You guys just reconnected then.
Yeah.
From your experiences, which men seem to be the best partners and why?
I would say the men that are continuously trying to grow and not staying stagnant in life, and they really work hard to be their authentic self. You know, they're not trying hard to fit into society or, you know, what they think they should do as a man. And they're living authentically and not trying to prove anything. I think those would be the best.
Okay. How can we break the pattern of dating the wrong person?
Oh, that's a good one. Well, I mean, I think every person that we've dated has been the right person at that time to teach us something. I feel like every relationship is there to teach us something. And yes, it could be teaching us that, hey, wait, every person I've dated has this same characteristic, and then it ends in this way, you know? That's you? Help me. I mean, I felt like every guy I had dated was the guy that had to be the center of attention, and, you know, was just about being the funny and like had to be the show, you know, be like he was on stage all the time. And I don't know why that kept happening, but I mean, I really thought, and it's so funny because my ex used to always say, I'm supposed to be your best friend. I'm supposed to be your best friend. I was like, you're not my best friend. Like, I can't tell you. It's not you. Like, there's some things I couldn't tell him, you know, like, because he would flip out or, you know, have weird reactions. So he wasn't my best friend, but yeah, I'm saying I should be his best friend. And I was like, I don't know if it's possible to be a best friend in a relationship. I kept thinking that until I got to this relationship I'm in now. Now I know it is possible. Mm-hmm. But back then I was like, I don't know if that's even possible. Like, how can you be in love with somebody that's your best friend? Like, I really didn't think it was possible, but now I know. And I think maybe that was something that I kept doing in past relationships too, was just being in these like surface kind of relationships that weren't going deep enough. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But I think breaking patterns really comes down to being aware of the patterns and just making the intention that that's not the kind of guy I want to be with anymore, and noticing the red flags that come up when you're dating.
Okay. Have you noticed a pattern now that's a little bit different, or maybe taking on a different role as far as, you know, the dynamics of between the marriages? I know you said that it's women now that are taking charge, which kind of explains where I'm at. I was the one that wanted to leave mine because I just saw a pattern that was just going to keep repeating itself, and I wanted to grow. But do you see anything that maybe is causing that? Is it just because there's more empowerment with women, or?
I think so. I feel like in the last 10 years, we, as a society, we've kind of started talking about self-love more, growing up, self-love meant you were vain or conceited, selfish, right? And my ex did not understand what self-love meant. He always called me selfish.
It's okay
but I kept telling him, like, no, I got to take care of myself, like I can't be a good mom or a wife if I can't take care of myself. So I think that's becoming more and more the norm for a woman to be able to say, wait, but self-love doesn't mean that I give all my energy to everybody else and I don't have any for me. It means that I have to take care of myself first. And so women are starting to realize that. But if they're with a man that doesn't realize that, they're stuck in their ways and they want that woman that's just slaving in the kitchen or taking care of them constantly, then, that poor woman.
That's true.
Yeah, I think society slowly is changing and realizing that self-love, isn't selfish, and it's something that we have to do to take care of ourselves.
To be happy, yeah.
Yeah, because I was a little bit confused sometimes, I think, with that, because sometimes I think it's like self-love, or if it's like self-preservation, or if there's desensitization. So it's kind of like I'm trying to figure out where we are as women at, because there's so much competition, there's so much cheating, and things like that. Like, have we kind of wised up to preserve ourselves enough? And then, now we're smarter, so we're looking if we do get into something, it's going to be something that we want more and not compromise. Or is it just that, we're just not, we're not listening to our hearts as much, but we're more thinking than we are being emotional?
Oh yeah, that could be something too. I feel, feel like
what your take is.
Yeah, I feel like from my standpoint, I feel like I've just seen myself, from a kid to now being able to finally like speak. As a kid, I was taught to just be quiet. I couldn't have an opinion, that kind of thing. And now my parents let me have an opinion, and I feel like I teach them things about with my opinions. But I think from, the 30 years ago to now, it's like we're slowly coming back to the ancient wisdom of follow your heart, which before it was like, don't follow your heart. That's dumb. We gotta listen to your mind, the logical mind. But really, it needs to be a balance between both. You're following your heart, but you're also doing it logically. You're not just like selling all your stuff and quitting your job all of a sudden. You're thinking about it a little bit, but your heart really wants to do it. You're just kind of doing it in a logical way. So I think there needs to be a balance between that, for sure, for success. So I think it's, I think it's a little of all of that you said, Dawn, going on.
Okay. Yeah, because I was just trying to figure it out, like, which one is it? Or is there more gravitation, pull this way or that way? Only because I think there's so much that's being out now because we have the internet, like so much being shown about how women are treated in other countries, to, now domestic violence is more prone to, or prominent on the internet as far as being exposed, things like that. And, and people are like, enough is enough, But that was one of the things one of the questions that I had was, well, which one is it? Or is it a combination, or are men changing too? Like, how do they feel, or what's going on with them as well? I'm always thinking. So.
Yeah, I know. And as a collective, I think with men, I thought, like, there are still a lot of men that are just kind of set in their ways of, wanting that woman that's a typical, what society says, the woman that stays home with the kids and cooks and all that, right? But I have come across men that aren't like that at all. So, when you're around something for so long, you tend to think, that that's how all men think. But I feel like my eyes started getting open, before I even left, my ex-husband, I met a man that kind of opened my eyes to be like, oh, wow, there's like men out there that are like to empower women and to do things, or motivated to get out there and like change the world, what there are. Yeah. And then after that, I came across some more, so like, I know that they do exist. It's just, sometimes we're kind of in our little bubble and we only see what we see. But when we kind of stretch out and meet people in the world, we can see that there's all kinds of different stuff going on.
That's true. That's very true. Yep.
I think what worries me too is like you work with children, right?
Yes.
Have you? And so like, are their worries starting to change? Do they seem like their worries are older, or like, are they thinking about things that we didn't think about at their age? Or, I mean, have you noticed any of that too?
I mean, I am pretty shocked when I come across a 7-year-old that has anxiety, because
that's sad.
That's really young. I didn't even know what anxiety, I didn't feel anxiety until high school probably, and I didn't even know what that word meant. I just thought it was because I was shy. So when I have a 7-year-old that has anxiety and tells me they experience this anxiety because of this or that, and I think, wow, that's really young, because usually it's around 9, when they really start feeling those emotions and like they're getting really involved with their friends. That's when the anxiety might come about a bit. But yeah, but I don't think that's the norm. I've only come across a few kids that age that would even say they had anxiety. And another thing is, a lot of high school kids, they know what anxiety is. They've been taught it. And so they like to tell everyone, like they like to come out and say, like, I have anxiety, and kind of use that as a crutch too, which that worries me too, because yes, you have anxiety, but that doesn't mean you can't, live a normal life. And we can't always blame, this and that on your anxiety. You can work through it. So that's another thing that I've noticed with some teens that I follow online, that it's just, it's always talking about anxiety. I'm depressed, I'm anxious, which I'm glad, people are talking about it. When it gets to a point where you're constantly using that as your excuse, or, like a reason, what are you doing about that? Like, are you trying to heal yourself? Or are you just planning to keep living like that? Like, you got to do something about it. You can't just keep voicing it.
Yeah. Do you have suggestions for that? Like, do you have a suggestion for kids who are maybe going that route, or who are maybe taking their relationship? Because I've noticed that some kids are taking their relationships like way too seriously, or like, they're just in a different element now, and it's just, and I don't know if COVID has anything to do with it, which it could. But I just notice it a lot more. It's kind of uneasy to feel, to see kids not being.
Yeah, and I really think social media has a lot to do with that too. It just it feels like everything's so dramatized, right? It's so different. So, but I think what I would tell a teen that's constantly falling back on, I have anxiety, I have depression, the more they say that to themselves, the more that's going into, like, your cells are listening to what you're saying. Like, your brain takes everything you say and think and uses it as instruction. So if you're saying, I constantly have anxiety, I have anxiety, or I'm depressed, or, of course, all teens have anxiety and depression. I don't know if there's any that don't, I know I I had more depression than anxiety, I think, but I think that's part of the growing process, and that them getting tools to figure out how, and everybody's going to have a different tool that helps them, but them being able to talk about it is great, but not attaching themselves to it so much, just don't attach yourself to that label. The labels are a big thing. Like, everybody has to have a label, and it's like, if we're labeling ourselves, then we're putting ourselves in a box. We can't get out of that box.
That's true.
That is
other
true.
people put you in a box, when you keep saying what you are, I have anxiety, I have depression.
I'm emo. The emo kids, the goth kids, suicidal kids. Yeah.
You get put in a box when you label yourself, really, is what happens. And when you do something outside of the box, everybody's so surprised because you kept labeling yourself. I think it just really constrains us if we do that.
That's a good point.
But the main thing is just to teach them that, what they're saying, what they're thinking, all of that is going into their subconscious, and their brain is figuring out, oh, okay, so we're living with anxiety. So this is what anxiety is like, let me give you more, let's have more anxiety. It's just like everything that everything that we think and say are instructions to our brain, and our brain commands our body. So
it's like you're telling your energy what it is.
I just said something, the word abracadabra, that people think that it comes from a Hebrew word that I can't remember what it is, but it means what I speak shall be, or something like, basically it's saying what I speak I'll create, that whole abracadabra history of that. So I thought that was really interesting.
We learned something new today on our show.
So when I say, like, my daughter and I, when we have our little blessings that we say to each other at night, we always say abracadabra.
Yeah, that's actually a cool story. I like that.
They speak it and we'll create it. So it's something to remember, we want to speak things that we want to create, It's okay to vent. It's okay to vent and let things out, but then, like, turn it around and be like, okay, now I'm going to do this. This is what I'm going to create, because I have the power to create it. We really do.
And I like that. Do you think women wait too long before moving on versus men?
I've seen it all ways. Too early, but I think, I do know some women. I know one that I met recently that she got divorced like 6 years ago, and she's never dated. So I think with women, like I said earlier, is like, if you're in a hard marriage and the man's really controlling, it's hard to even want to be with another man, right? I mean, when you're free, you're free. It's like, well, let me enjoy this freedom for a while. So, yeah, I think it can go both ways, really.
Okay. How can we attract our goals?
Oh, gosh. By creating the intention. I feel like I'm really a big believer in writing and journals and writing about what you want to create. And with my students, I always have them draw themselves doing it, and then visualizing themselves doing it. So I'm a big fan of Dr. Joe Dispenza. Do you know him?
No.
Okay, he's really big into mental rehearsal. And he teaches people, if you go to one of his workshops, it's just amazing. His energy is just amazing. But he's teaching people that the more we're believing in ourselves and believing that future is already happening, then the more we're attracting it. So if we're really believing to be that person that we're trying to be, like if we're believing it's happening right now already, like we have the emotions, we can close our eyes and visualize it happening right now. The more we do that, the more we're actually attracting it to us. So
Yes.
I'm a big believer in mental rehearsal.
I love it. I believe in it too. I believe in what you're saying.
I've had that happen to me actually. Like there was one place I used to walk by. I used to go on a walk, and there was this one place that I wanted to live. And I was like, one of these days I'm going to be in that house. One of these days I'm going to be in that house. And a sign came up, and like, I swear, maybe not even 2 months later, we were in that house.
Wow.
And it was just like, yeah.
That's a
So
great
it's one of those things. Yeah. So it's one of those things that you really, really have to, get it together. And you really do have to, like, what I would do when I would walk by is visualize myself opening the door and stepping out.
I love that.
And so so it was one of those, it was, and so I do that every now and then with a lot of different things. It's like I have to physically see myself in there somewhere, and then and then it all like kind of works out.
That's amazing. I love and then stories like that help people see that it's possible.
It definitely is. It definitely is.
Yeah, you have to be open to.
Yeah, you have to be open to believing it, because some people are, oh no, that doesn't work.
Then that's what happens. It doesn't work because they believe it doesn't work.
Exactly.
How can we support single parents going through a breakup or divorce?
Being a good listener and not judging.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I know many of us are like, we knew this was coming before it came out. We look at some of our friends. We could have told you this was going to happen. Why didn't you listen to us?
I know. You're like,
and I'm sure they say the same thing to us too. Like they're thinking the same thing about us. Like they know us too. It's true. Yeah. It's true. Yeah, that's something to think about.
Yeah, that's so true.
Lots of people say that you should not bring up your exes with your new partner. Is it okay to bring them up if it's relevant to the subject you're discussing, or should we just not talk about them at all? No, it's hard for me. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like it's okay if you and your partner are very secure in the relationship. There shouldn't be a problem. Like my partner and I talk about our exes all the time because we like to talk about what we've learned. Like where we've come from and like the patterns that we've shown in relationships. And so it helps us work through any issues that ever come up with us. Like, oh, this is something I've done in the past and I don't want to do it anymore, So
how do you feel about that, Dawn? Because they're like, people tell me you shouldn't bring up your ex, but sometimes I feel like it's relevant.
Well, I think when you have kids, it's definitely going to be relevant to bring up to the relationship. I think, if I were to be with anybody, that I do have to have some type of subtle warning signs for them as far as this. But as far as like growing and things like that, I mean, it's always nice to get different perspectives, because in our head, the way we imagine it, the way we lived, I think it's different than, I mean, you're with somebody new that could put a new perspective on that, or could help you understand why that happened, or if you were the part of the main equation that made that happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so I think it just being open and honest. I think basically it's all about transparency. Yeah. If you have transparency with your partner, then you're good to go. If you don't and you have to hide something, then I think you need to look in yourself to see why you're hiding that or what you're embarrassed about,
Yeah, exactly. I agree for sure. I feel like I know my ex-husband, he did not ever want me talking about my exes. And I felt like he didn't know me. He didn't know me because I couldn't talk about that. And he would talk about his a little bit, but every time I brought up one, he'd be like, I don't want to hear about that. I'm like, well, that's part of my life.
Yeah.
Shut me down. I don't even know what I was doing.
Some best friend you are.
I know. Right? Yeah, exactly. Oh my goodness.
I should have said that. We're be best friends.
I thought we could talk about anything.
That's so true.
Let's see. Is it okay to date with small children or while you're pregnant, or should parents wait till children are a certain age before they date?
I think so. If you're in a place where you're ready to, you're not just doing it to get over your ex,
Okay.
or doing it because you're lonely. As long
Okay.
as you're in the right place, I think that's fine.
Okay. Or what about you, Dawn? Do you think you could date at any age? I mean, with your children, any age, or do you wait till they're like 10 or something? Or
I think it's not so much the dating part. I think it's so much of like being safe about it, as far as when you're going to bring him around to your little ones, I think that's where it's really important. But, because I think people jump into a relationship and sometimes they're not balanced between each other, or if they are, or they don't know each other well enough. And then you always hear some really bad stuff that are in result of that. As far as like the children being hurt or, vice versa. But I think it's really, the person needs to really get to know themselves on how they are around that person, because it really can affect your kids if you're changing around that person and it's not good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I would think that's the biggest thing is waiting a long time before you introduce them. Like dating, that's fine as long as you're doing it on your own for a while.
okay.
Right.
How can we find the love we desire?
I'd say my major answer would be to be the person, you're trying to attract. Like if you're trying to attract somebody that's, fit, that likes to be healthy, then you have to, be that person too. Like you have to be the person that you want to attract, basically, is what I think.
Yeah, that's true. Once in a
to go to a gym.
you have to, what'd you say?
I have to go to the gym then.
Oh yeah. I'm about to buy some weights for the house.
I have some. They're just sitting there collecting dust.
Oh my God. Mine might do the same thing, but I'm trying to ride the bike now, like little things,
Yeah, but if you see somebody else fit, it makes you want to like bike even better.
Yeah, that's true. She's like, bike even better.
That's funny.
That's true. That's true. Okay. Once in a new relationship, how do we prevent repeating past relationship issues? Like,
but I think by being transparent, like we just said, like talking about your relationships and what went wrong and how you want, I think once you get, through so many relationships, you start to really hear what you woke up and you're like, oh, wow, I've done this in every relationship. And like, this is, relationship is really, important to me, and I'm in love with this person. I don't want to do that again. So being aware and talking and being transparent with each other about it. And understanding that, it's a pattern, and it can be hard to let go of a pattern you've been doing for, 10, 20 years. And so when your partner understands that, and you understand each other's patterns, and you can call each other out on it, like, hey, wait, what are you doing right now? Like, just like, and being open to hearing that feedback. Like, hey, Kitty.
a new star. Now we're going to get all the views. Look at Kitty.
Oh my God.
What's your cat's name?
This is E.T. This is actually my boyfriend's cat that I'm cat sitting because he's going on the bike trip.
What's his name? Is it a girl? What's his name?
Boy. E.T.
E.T.?
Like E.T. phone home.
Oh,
E.T. alien.
so cute.
Yeah.
He just made
Why are you giving me attention? So you had to get in the camera.
It's all good. Most people that watch our show like animals anyway. Let's see here. How can we keep new relationships on a good note? Because a lot of time we're with a partner and you're like kind of tired of them. You get in this routine. Like, how can we keep our relationships on a good note?
Oh, eating my hair.
Okay.
I think it really means that you both need to have, your independence, and that you're not just like when you fall in love, you just want to be with the person all the time, every day. We can't fall into that pattern. We have to still keep our independence and like to do things separately too.
Okay.
Because when it gets too comfortable and it's like all of a sudden the honeymoon period's over real quick. And taking it slow and just having fun with it, not rushing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's see. Do you have any materials such as books or workshops that can help our viewers heal?
Yeah, I do. I have an ebook called Authentically Me. It's a short guide that has a lot of the things that have helped me. I put in that book. I have a children's book called Millie's Song of Courage for kids that want to learn how to use affirmations and visualizing to reach their goals.
That'd be a good gift.
Yeah, that would.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I have my Insight Timer meditations on Insight Timer. What else do I have? I think that's it.
How can we find your book?
The Authentically Me ebook or the children's book? I have a children's book on my website. So I have it here at my house. I used to have it on Amazon, but I was just like, I've had it. My Authentically, you can go to my website and find all of those things.
And what's your website? What's your website address?
dreambeautifulcoaching.com.
Okay. What would be your ideal dream divorce party?
Oh. So I thought I was going to do a divorce party. I was just talking about it with my friend earlier. I have my friend visiting from Houston, but she was like, weren't you going to do a divorce party? I was like, I was, but I don't know what happened. I remember getting the invitation. It wasn't going to be a party though. It was going to be a zip lining excursion. I wanted to do something physical, like some kind of like flying into a new life kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I was going to get people together and we're going to go zip lining, but it never happened. By the time, because it just kept dragging on, and by the time it was over, I was just like,
I think that would be great in an episode to do some zip lining, all the divorcees together.
Yeah.
I think that'd be fun.
It's like getting, like a little bit out of your comfort zone and just like feel like you're flying. Like every time you're going across, just like imagining yourself like flying into your new life.
Yeah, I think that would be fun.
Me too. I still haven't done it yet.
We're going to definitely have to do that one of these days.
It has been. Thank you so
how
much.
can we learn more about your business and where can we find you on social media?
Okay, I have a lot of social media. I have the Divorce Bliss.
Okay.
I have a Soul Quest podcast is the one I do with my partner. And then at Dream Beautiful _with_Sharon.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good to me. So most of the stuff you could probably find like on your website then.
Yeah, my website, my products page I have a lot of like printable type journaling stuff on there too, and there's a lot of helpful stuff on there.
Okay. Well, that's all the questions I have for tonight, and I know Dawn has to get going because she has to do school shopping for her kids.
Oh, fun!
Thank you so much. No, thank you, Sharon. We really enjoyed asking all these questions and getting to know you a little bit better. Thank you so much for being a part of our show. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Everyone have a nice week.
Okay,
Yes,
bye.
same here.
You guys too.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.